All right, so we are live here. Just got back from a 6-mile run. Just gonna take myself through a nice stretch. So here we go. Just got back from a 6-mile run. Gonna start off with a little hip flexor stretch. I run a little crouch. So all I'm doing is bending over at the waist, down on one knee. I'm gonna tuck my pelvis under. I'm gonna come up. Now when I do this, I also like to get my big toe into extension. When we propel ourselves forward, we need to go through something like 20 degrees of extension in our big toe. Is it necessary? No. Can you work your way around it? Yeah. Does it mean that you're going to kind of turn your foot out? Probably. And ultimately that can lead to forces going into certain places of your body that they might otherwise not want to go, causing some pain and discomfort. So, want to cut it off with a pass. And I'm going to be here about 30 seconds. I'm making sure that I push my hip forward. I'm not arching my back too much. I want to make sure that I can get as much extension in my hip or get my knee behind my hip as possible. If I just stay here and arch my back, I'm just going to be putting pressure on my back. That's all. Might feel uncomfortable. So I like to tuck and then shift forward. After 45 to 60 seconds, I'm going to switch sides. Same thing. Tuck the pelvis. Come on up, push my hip forward. Now, one hip might feel tighter than the others, completely normal. We're not symmetrical. We're not built symmetrically. Our wings are different sizes, and the diaphragm is shaped differently on each side of the body. Our organs aren't evenly distributed in our abdomen, so you might feel more tightness on one side than the other. That's completely normal, completely fine. Doesn't mean that anything's wrong with you. It just means that, hey, maybe you want to spend a little bit more time on that one if it can provide you with some relief. I definitely am tighter on my right side, pretty much on everything. I am left-handed. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But getting that big toe. And this will probably take about 10 minutes total. All right. Oh, feels really good. So we've stretched the front of our hips. I just got back from like I said, a 6-mile run, so I'm going to stretch my calves a little bit. And so to do this, I'm going to be in a plank position. And I'm just going to basically rock one leg back. You can do this with both legs here, but I like kind of at the starting position of a run. I can get a little bit more force into one foot. And same thing, 30 to 60 seconds is usually pretty sufficient for a stretch. We want to give some time for the nervous system and the musculoskeletal system to kind of adapt or ease into getting a better stretch. We'll switch sides. And some people go into like a down dog, but I feel like I get a better stretch when I'm here. I feel a little bit more in my calf than my Achilles tendon. Whew. Hope you guys are having a good morning. Really start. I'm woke me up really early. All right, after I stretch out my calves, I'm just simply going to rock up and down, do a little bit of engagement of my trunk with my calves. And just do it somewhere between 5 and 10. Squeezing my butt cheeks, squeezing my abs. Great. All right. Moving on up the chain a little bit, going back to the hips. With a cobra, so from the side, I'm just basically putting one leg out in front. And a lot of people, sorry, not a cobra, a pigeon. A lot of people will kind of bend over, and you'll get a nice little stretch in your back if you want that. I like keeping my chest up a little bit more because then I know I'm just getting pretty much all the stretch in my posterior hip, my glute, piriformis, hip rotators, all that stuff. And so if this is a problem for you, for some reason if this bothers your knee, the amount of rotation here, or the pressure on your hip, or the pressure on your knee, you can go on your back, and you can just do a nice little figure 4, or if once again this is a little problematic for your knee, you can put that leg down, and you can just pull your knee up and across your body. All going to be getting a stretch in the back of that hip. Once again, feels really good. Leg goes out in front, leg is straight back, chest is up nice and high. You'll feel that stretch, like I said, on the back of your hip. Make sure I don't give us too much time on that stretch. Whew, it's nice little cool down. Gotta be stretching a little bit more. It always makes me feel so much better. Spend a lot of time doing lifting and taking myself through full range of motion, but sometimes a little static stretch feels really good. Static stretching has gotten a bad rap lately with its ability to prevent injury, which I totally agree with. The more you stretch doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to prevent injury, but it might make you feel good, might help you maintain your range of motion, which helps you remain active and so on and so forth. But it doesn't actually prevent injury any better than just exercising, going out, going for your run, getting your lift on. All right, so we're 45 seconds. So kind of like the calves, I want to use my glutes a little bit. There's a million options for this, but I want to actively use them through a stretch. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into 90-90 sitting here. I basically let my legs fall out to the side, and I'm upright through my chest. Hands are out in front to kind of counterbalance myself. I'm coming up. Now I'll feel a little bit of a stretch in my hips. I have one in external rotation, one in internal rotation. And then I'm back down. I feel a stretch in the back of my right hip in this instance. And I'm up. 3. I'm just going to do 5 on each side. 4. And at the top 5, I get a nice little adductor stretch on that side. So then I'm back on my butt. Switch my legs. You switch your legs. Going forward again, getting that extension. I'm a little tighter on my left hip. My adductors, so a little. Having a little trouble getting up there, but that's all right. 3, 4. I get a nice little stretch on my hip flexion on the right side, even when I go through here, and then back on my left hip on the way down. So, all right. So back to the legs. We're doing hammies, hamstrings, whatever you want to call them. You got 3 of them. They'll run down the back of the leg, and you're gonna be laying on your back, holding behind your knee. Pulling your toes back, kicking up. You're going to get calf and hamstring when you do this. If you just want only hamstring, you actually point your toe and do it. So you get a lot more range of motion there. So I know my calf is limiting me a little bit into knee extension. I'm okay with stretching both of those at the same time. I get a nice little stretch in both. And I'm doing 10 reps. Let's see, how's my day look? I have about 11 patients lined up for the day. I get to go home, go on daddy duty, run around with my kids, which is always a blast. They're starting to interact, sometimes quite nicely together. Oftentimes, not. Oftentimes my daughter likes to play bully with my younger son. You got 2 more, and then just like the other stuff, we're going to use this range of motion. I'm going hands up to the side. I'm not using them to support my leg anymore. Legs. All I'm doing is I'm locking my leg out and taking it up as high as I can. We're going to do 8 of these. Let's see what we got. Got 1 for my first patient of the day. You just take it up as high as you can without having to bend your other knee. And so you can keep your back flat, we'll say, or just laying on the ground. You'll see a difference here with legs. Right side a bit tighter. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And then at the very beginning, I was doing a nice little hip flexor stretch. I didn't really take it through range of motion actively. So what I'm going to be doing is a nice long split stance. And I'm going to pitch forward. You'll see I'm really closing up my front knee a lot, and I'm getting myself into an extension in my hip, and I'm going back. I'm just going to do 5 on each side, and then we're all done. I know that there's snow already in some of the places that my patients have family, the East Coast, up north. It just seems crazy to me that being an East Coaster, I know, come early, it's November. Oh. You need to hold on to something like that? Be my guest. This is not a balance exercise. It's just about stretching and using your body through big ranges of motion. So that's going to be it. Hopefully that was about 10 minutes or so. I think I ran a little long there. But give it a go, give it a try. Hopefully I've given you some ideas after you run, how to use your body, how to cool down, how to maybe take some of the tension out of your body so you can relax a little bit and feel your best after activity. If you have any questions, as always, please reach out. I'm always here to help. See you.